Yorke Peninsula has always been known as the best area for growing malt barley, and it does make the best malt, we've been told, in the world. The thing I love about Yorke Peninsula is just a good even balance of farming climate. There's the richness in the soil and what you grow, and what's enhanced by the reliable rainfall, and you've got the beach each side, partial isolation, your sunrises, your sunsets. Yeah, it's a great place. I've been here all my life, and 1913 grandfather started off here, so it's been a long journey, and he picked a good place to come and to roll out his swag. For me, I wouldn't go anywhere else. There's nowhere else to go.
My name's Vanessa Bowley, and I'm from Port Victoria, which is on the west coast of the Yorke Peninsula in South Australia. I was driven to make suicide prevention a real issue in communities. And I'm married to a wool grower who predominantly spent most of his life out in the paddock on his own. They don't have people to talk to. They can go in the remote areas, on cattle and sheep stations, they can go for weeks without talking to anybody other than their immediate family. But it's the men who put this fence around themselves. When we started, we identified that they are one of the key targets that we have to get to. I was fortunate, I met Tessa Colliver along the way, and we put together a group of people and to try and get communities to understand that suicide prevention is everyone's business. So I advertised that there was going to be a public meeting at the golf club in Minlaton. There was a wide range of, maybe 40 people came along, and it started there in a small way. Starting a group like SOS, you've got to have a strong message. You've got to be persistent with that message. We created a vision and a mission, and then we developed a plan which gave us some steps of items we were going to undertake. And then as we undertook them, whether it was sort of, having a particular, holding a particular event, or even just writing regular press releases for the paper, to actually tick off those things and say, yes, we've achieved that. Give yourself some simple steps, baby steps. Tick them off, congratulate yourself. You're not going to end up with a huge community group of 70 or 80 people straight away. You might end up with 3 or 4 or 10 or 20. Build up slowly, but celebrate your successes.
I got involved when the group got started back in 2015. And I'm really passionate about suicide prevention because I lost my dad, who was a farmer, to suicide in 2006. I think rural people are very, resilient, sort of stiff upper lip, will put up with a lot before they even go to the doctor. My dad used to have to be really, really crook to go and actually see a doctor because that was time away from the farm, and, unless it's a real emergency, that just wasn't seen as a high priority. But I think we're definitely making progress with the mental health side of things. Certainly my biggest sense of accomplishment came when we had Wayne Schwass, ex-AFL footballer for the North Melbourne Kangaroos and Sydney, come over to speak at Ardrossan about his experience of depression. And we had quite a few local farmers in the audience that night, and the way Wayne spoke was just so powerful that I think he really did knock people's socks off a bit. That just his honesty, and it's about being strong and, stiff upper lip and all of that, which is also very true of farmers. So for them to hear this bloke talk about his own struggles with depression, I think was just so powerful. And certainly the feedback we received confirmed that. Back in 2019, we were asked to participate in a mental health awareness calendar. that would be all farmer stories. We had, I think, 6 people from York Peninsula participate. For local people reading the stories, you know, some of them would have been surprised that some of these people featured actually even had a mental health story, which made it even more powerful to put it out there. And I think the calendar has been a huge success in actually getting conversations started around these things. And it really does help to normalise it, and it is just part of everyday life.
Probably first started recognising the signs that I was battling a bit, maybe, I don't know, half a dozen or so years ago, just going through things on the farm that probably weren't going on as well as I would hoped. And my wife, Rachel, and I, we battled to conceive. Rachel went through, I think it was 9 rounds of IVF over 5 or 6 years. So it was, quite a stressful time. As the bloke, you can't really do a lot but support, and then you're also trying to run the farm at the same time. The process of getting involved with SOS Yorks and being asked to be on the calendar a couple of years ago was really good for me, I think. I guess I sort of had a yarn with people and friends that didn't know that I was battling a bit with a few things, to let them know. I think it really helped me, sort of move forward and maybe be able to help a few other people as well, like people just wanting to chat and a bit of support. It was a really good process to go through and help me with just letting people know that things were going on, and it just makes it easier if you do talk about things. I think it's really important for farmers to check on each other. A lot of the time you're working by yourself and you are going through the same battles of running a farm. It is very enjoyable, but there are a lot of things that can not go your way. So I've got some close mates, farming mates that I like to just ring up and see how they're going, what they're up to, and it breaks their day up a bit, and they sort of do the same thing for me. Lifts it off your shoulders a bit, I think. Getting that calendar off the ground and getting those dozen people to tell a story, and having those calendars in your local shop or on your friend's fridge or wherever you see it, something that everyone sort of has a bit of a read, and you think, well, they're sort of going through a similar thing to me. And I think it's just really beneficial for everyone to communicate, I guess. And if you're battling a bit, just let someone know, and I'm sure they'll be more than happy to listen and help you out.
So where SOS Yorks are at the moment, we are having a period of renewal, and I think one of our biggest challenges is that there are so many things locally that also rely on volunteers, and I think it's really important to be able to find people who have an interest in mental health and or suicide prevention, are passionate about it, but also have time to give, because that's what lets us keep going. Because we do need that committee of 8 people to be able to operate as an incorporated association. So it's been really exciting that we have now got 5 new committee members, which is allowing us now to plan for the future. Because that is really the critical element to keep the organisation going over the long term. We try and meet once a month with our committee. And although I resisted it for a really long time, we've actually found that Zoom is really helpful, because the York Peninsula is quite a large distance to cover. And we've just found that although it's preferable to catch up in person, that using technology, so using Zoom meetings, is a great way to get everyone together, and everyone can just do it from their own home, and it just puts less pressure on people and time pressure to allow that extra time for travel as well.
As a farmer in the CYP area, SOS Yorks is another great tool that's available to blokes. They've held some good events, some good opportunities. They've had some good guest speakers. that are blokes that are inspiring, encouraging, and are available to share their life experiences and their stories, and to encourage others to think outside the square, and that there is an opportunity to deal with some of the issues that we're dealing with, especially in the rural areas.
If we are looking at reaching farmers, we also have to reach their partners, the women who are working alongside them or out on the property. It's like whether you have a fridge magnet and it's got a message on it that you put on the fridge, so everyone goes to the fridge and you open it and there's a phone numbers or a little thought for the day or something. So you can go provide information to the women. You can develop many different things. It's not just about pamphlets. It's not just about speaking events. You've got to think broadly, you've got to be creative, and you've got to engage not just the men, but their partners as well to make it work. Mental health and counselling services are so stretched in actually dealing with clients that they don't have the time to expand their thinking, to develop events and opportunities where people can come together. They're too busy doing the, if you like, the medical side. And being overstretched means that there has to be something to fill the gap. And I think community groups like SOS can make a huge difference to mental health and well-being, and ultimately suicide prevention in all communities.
Some people say there's no hope and they get pretty down and pretty depressed, but I've always said where there's life, there's hope.
When Maggie finally did arrive, it was unbelievable, most unbelievable thing I've ever experienced, and Rach did an amazing job just to hold little Maggie and just having little adventures with her and watching her experience new things, and it's just an amazing thing.
If your farm machinery was breaking down, you would have to stop and get it looked at and get it fixed to be able to keep going. If you're not functioning, then your farm's probably not going to be functioning very well either. You are your most important part of machinery. Make sure you look after yourself as well. When was your last service?